Welcome to another episode of You Woke Up podcast. I'm here with Emrata, and we are going to have another discussion on what it's like that she woke up and just like what happened, what was the thing, whatever it was, and this couldn't operate in the matrix in the old way that now you're seeing is just not the way. So I would love to hear your story on what happened to you.
Well, thanks, Virginia. It's so lovely to be here and to have this little discussion, this chitty chat today with you this afternoon. So thanks so much for inviting me again. And gosh, yeah, my awakening journey. Whew, I always say like I think it's tend to happen in me for different stages. Growing up, I went to a very intense prep school. I had an intense tennis coach. I played five sports in high school, and my tennis coach, his daughter went to Harvard for tennis, and I felt like he was projecting onto me because I was the captain for 2 years, and I had all this pressure coming from him just to perform well. But I ended up going to a good college for undergrad, but not for tennis like he wanted me to. I was always an athlete, hence all the energy that I still have, running and kicking today. But I had all this pressure from my coaches and my parents. I felt like and my teachers, and I was just in that environment that felt like I don't know. I was just like going through a birthing canal of some sort. I have a friend, Gail, the bougie healer. Hey, Gail, what's up? She's
That's
saying
how we
that
met.
that's how we met. If I felt like I was going through a birthing canal to just have like let the magic in, and the hard work paid off. I went to a good college, studied psychology, but even there, like there was just something off, and I just never felt. I always felt like a black sheep in my society, just in my upbringing. During that time, my dad also got sick, and I was so close to my dad. I was like a dad's girl. My mom, I love her dearly. I don't know how she had the best relationship with my dad, but she just came from a completely different family than my dad. And so my dad died when I was 21 from a rare form of cancer, ocular melanoma. He took it upon me. Well, I stayed at home for a year in New York, but then I just fled to Boston. I literally ran away. I don't know how I did this, but I'm pretty good at manifesting things when I put my mind to it. I literally went to Boston on a one-way ticket there to Logan Airport, couch surfed at a week at my friend's place, and somehow landed a job in corporate advertising and an apartment of my own. I don't know how. Anyway, that lasted for a year. They say in advertising, you haven't been advertising unless you've gotten fired. I ended up getting fired because we lost our Subway account. The Subway $5 footlongs. Yeah, they weren't heroes
Subway.
anymore. But after that, things talk about alignment. Our universe is wild. That's when I stopped taking. Oh, that was my first wake up call. I stopped taking my ADD pills because they say
Oh.
these big things. I mean, everyone has their own opinions, but for me, I was taking Vyvanse and all Concerta, Ritalin, Adderall, like all the ADD pills in the book. I had my life turned upside down when I moved out to California, and my ex at the time, who I had met in undergrad, he was always like, "Oh, Em, such a Cali girl, like you're so chill." And he was such a stoner too, so that actually helped like rewire my brain. And I was convinced that during my 20s, I just took it upon me because I was in such a dark, depressive episode that I was like, you know what, screw it. I've been a workhorse my entire life. I've saved up all this money. I'm just gonna be a stoner for a few months and date
I'm
this
gonna
guy.
relax.
And it was wild, exactly. And he was the one who, as abusive and physically, mentally, and verbally abusive as he was the first one who woke me up to wow, there's a whole different lifestyle, a whole different mindset that you can have. And
Besides the
also,
grind.
yes, besides the grind, he was like, there's something about freedom, and it's so nice. I called it bliss mode. I called it bliss mode in the amount of times he hotboxed his car. It should be illegal, but that definitely
Well, it was a
rewired.
pattern interrupter. It interrupted
Yes.
the way you were going, the burnout that
Yeah.
probably would have eventually just, yeah.
And as Dan always said, he was like, you're rewiring your synapses, you're growing back your synapses that all my ADD meds kind of like tore away at because, and I learned quite a bit about the science pharmacology, which is about the movement of medicine throughout the body in my health psych class in undergrad. And it's really fascinating. They say neurons that fire together wire together. And I think that from, Vyvanse, they say it's like Coke in a pill. It's like the more that you force the firing together, the more it's also going to tear away and like do injustice, like at a chemical
At a chemical level.
chemical level. So it was nice to become a stoner and stony baloney for a few months, but then I felt like I was getting electrocuted from that. So that was like my second wake up call after being woken up again. So it's just like there's so much shifting that goes on in the matrix and constant editing, right? And like speaking things into existence. And as someone, I've always prided myself on the amount of love that I have to give. I'm such a hardcore lover at my finest. I think my heart chakra is like wide open. That's something that I definitely pride myself on. But I couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, I moved out to California because I thought I was going to marry him. He was my best friend.
Yep.
But that's when I first got into fitness, and my journey into fitness. And I've worked at this point in my life for over 10 different fitness brands. And I still have a goal of manifesting my dream studio, but maybe we'll get more into that later. But yeah, I ran away
Well,
from
moving
him.
your body is very important.
It
So,
is.
yes.
It's very good for the sacral chakra, and everything, and just your sexual energy, keeping that libido, that creative libido going, because that's what it is. This breaking
The
free from the
creativity.
matrix. Yeah, it requires so much creativity, not just like on a physical scale, on a surface level scale, but mentally. That's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. That's what people, I think, don't realize, especially when you're manifesting. I have always been someone who has loved to write, and I really believe in the power of speaking things into existence. That's kind of like my light language. I know a lot of people like will sing and dance. And don't get me wrong, I love to do that
Oh,
too.
we all have
We
different.
all, yeah,
And
but
that's the point. We're all different.
exactly, we're all different. And that's what makes us all multidimensional human beings, and just,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful people, like imperfect, perfect beings. And so when I ran away from him, that was my first awakening. But I was living with a Spanish lady with an Argentine lady with her black lab and 16-year-old son. I was just renting out her room, working at Flywheel for a few months. And then I picked up a few other gigs, just front desk gigs at a few other studios as well. And I just followed my authentic path. I started to create, I started to just be my authentic self. And if what I learned in that time period is that the more authentic you are, not everyone's going to like your vibe, but some people will. So, and the people who
Yeah.
do, those are the real people in your life. When they see you at your darkest moments, they're going to be there forever. And that's what's
Yeah.
beautiful about being authentic. But
Because you
another,
know that they love you.
exactly.
And when you're not being authentic and they love a version of you that's not real, when you don't keep that up because it's tiring, then and then you get mad. They're like, well, why don't you love? And it's like, well, I wasn't even my real self. How could they love me if I wasn't my real self?
And honestly, I was kind of scared for a moment to like just like let it all go and just to be like, this is what I am. But at
This
that
is
point, like I
me.
was so fed up of, being physically and verbally abused by my ex that I was just like, you know what, this is my time. I deserve this. I'm gonna do this for me. And it was so cool just to meet the kindest people. Like I didn't show up to work some days. I did not show up to work, but they were still like,
Yeah.
Emilie, you do your thing. We see you're on mission, and like we respect the hell out of you. And I was just like, wow, I felt
Because
like,
there's no fakeness.
there's so much fakeness, but I felt like, that scene when Cinderella, when she has her dress torn up by the stepsisters, and then the fairy godmother comes through with like her magical wand. I felt like I was crying on my steps, and then like my fairy godmother came through. So it was honestly truly magical just to meet such like a wonderful gang of people, and then just to build
Yeah.
out from there. But then again, the shifts in the matrix, it goes up and down. LA at the time in 2019, for anyone who experienced it then, oh, it was a different vibe back then. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of plastic people, and don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of plastic people out there. I think that's why I moved back to New York. But I mean, that's a whole different debate. I can talk about the New York versus LA, East Coast versus West Coast thing forever. I mean, I think I like the sunshine, and I preferred the nice fakeness over just like the hard, tough grind, beat down New Yorker. You know,
Like, we
are
have
who
no
they like it
filter
is.
here. At least we're
Yeah,
smiling in the sun
we're
over here.
smiling like, hey,
Environment.
I'm them.
Yeah.
But I think that's why a lot of people in LA actually respected me, because I was like, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. And it's like, and they're like, oh, so you're real. I'm like, what does real even mean? Because
Yeah.
but again, like it's about just truly being who you are, and that requires a lot of hard work. So
Yeah.
yeah. So after that, where was I at? Okay, so then the pandemic hit, right? And that's when I actually first got deeper into my awakening. I met my friend Gail, the Bushi healer, who attuned me to Reiki eventually. but I started following her and it changed my life. Like I've always struggled with meditation, but deep meditation with her, I was like, wow. And I started to sage and I just started my third eye just opened up and I was able to, I feel like, communicate with people on a whole different level.
Yeah.
When you open up, when your gifts open up, it's like you notice the power of your mind, just how much power we have. It's like when you can speak to people without saying anything, it's the softest form of love to me. And especially for anyone who's ever experienced any trauma, it's like we have trauma responses for a reason, and we have these paradigm shifts for a reason. And it's like I've learned that my life has kind of unfolded in layers, and we have, especially people who have experienced deep trauma, there's so many deep layers upon layers, and like people we project onto to people who we love for no reason. Like even today, sometimes I project onto my mom, even though I know she means well, but I get fearful of her. I really do.
Yeah.
And
It's
because she
all of that's
represents
about a human experience. No,
exactly.
that's something that we give the grace to ourselves for, where it's like we're not supposed to be perfect, but we
Yeah,
do our best.
exactly. Exactly. And so I think that was the first time, I ran away from home because I just didn't feel like heard or properly loved by my mom, even though I know she does. And so, so actually it's funny because now here I am back at home living with my mom, but I was talking to a potential roommate now. And again, like repeating, they say history repeats itself and there's systems and actual cycles of how patterns come back around, So it's like, well, I feel safer at being home and I'm happy to be in New York and I plan on staying here. I'm, gonna run away again. And as my mom says, you're repeating your life that you did in LA. And I currently in my life, I'm at a stage where I'm, still trying to build my dream, but still like it's not done. It's a journey for a reason. And it's not about the destination, it's about the path
The
there. And
journey,
the
the path.
deeper you get into the rabbit hole, the more you're going to find the people who are always there are the ones you're always going to want to keep there, and sometimes like some people come into your lives for a different reason. I think sometimes everyone's a guide though. Everyone's a gift. I think even if the bad
Yeah.
ones can be a gift, it's like, okay, how can we transmute and alchemize that energy, that person into flipping it into how they serve as something positive in our
Yeah,
story?
it's all a thing. It's like either for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that's the friendship
Exactly.
thing where, and it's like, and I think I was talking in the groups today, and it was just like sometimes where it's like you also feel sometimes when you put your time and effort into someone for so long, and then you change and you see that it's run its season, its course, its stuff, but
Yes.
it's like, but I put all this effort, or they put all this effort into me and whatever, so you get stuck in this thing, and it's like that's why seeing the blessing of like, okay, the season's over, that gave me something, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
let's really,
Let's
yeah, let
really, and
it
let's
be.
revisit. And I think what I've learned too, I have a background in marketing as well. And so I love patterns and designs. I can nerd out on design and patterns of human behavior from my psych background as well, but I'm also a Reiki master. So all these forces in my life are coming together, and I really have seen how there's these cycles, these patterns of movement and human behavior, and it's just as scary as it is sometimes just following our natural and as hard as it is to follow our natural and authentic path. It really reveals like there's this true beautiful unfolding of how things can just like align and make sense. And if you're like me, like I love following the signs. And like whenever someone says, oh, like, why are you doing this? Like you're repeating this whole bad behavior. It's like, well, you're telling me to, so I'm going to do it. It's like, is it my
Yeah,
fault? No, it's like there people are asking for it. It's like, I really believe in speaking things into existence. As I tell my
yeah,
mom,
that's
she's
why
like,
collective things happened.
exactly. And it's funny because my mom's like, are you running away again? Like, as I'm about to move out of my house in a week. And I'm just like, well, I don't know. You're telling me to. So, and then I'm trying to
Yeah,
teach her about the power of the spoken word, but
yeah.
I don't know.
But do you feel like as if you're running, or as if that your time at home is
Yeah.
done? And
Well, first of all, I'm always running. I'm always on the
but
treadmill. I love it.
yeah,
Shout out Barry.
literally and figuratively.
Literally, as if you follow my Instagram, you would know. But no, I mean, I don't know. I think my time at home is not done. I think
Hmm.
I need a year. I think I need a year to continue to create, to manifest, to build my dreams. And even though, like, my mom has often said, like, like I just want to launch you. I want to get you set up. I want to get you like healthy because my mom has called me crazy before. She has literally
Yeah.
called me crazy. She's like, you're mentally unwell. And I'm just like, am I mentally unwell or do I see the world in a very different light than she
Yeah,
does?
and well, that's a parent thing too, where especially
Hmm.
different generations. Like I'm adopted. My adopted mom is 40 years older than me.
Oh
It
wow.
has been a road. She is now 80, in her 80s. I'm in my 40s. Like that, yeah, it's like this whole thing. And
Yeah.
but the thing about it is that it's changing. But there's this thing where the parents, it was such a thing for so long, is that we teach our kids are supposed to be like copies of us,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, 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 no. We're all individuals. And
Hmm.
I think it's really hard for especially like parents who are completely opposite of what their kids are, for
Yeah.
them to like, and then the fear that our kids will not succeed. Our kids will not do that. So we have to have them do the way that we do them. We have to have them do the, so then we're like, and then, if we haven't healed our trauma, then we're calling them crazy. Like, it's just, it's like, it's a whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not their faults, really. It's because of conditioning and programming that they had, but it doesn't mean that we as individuals have to deal with anything because we can only control ourselves.
And on your what your to your voice about to what you said about your point about just trauma, it's super generational too. So I
Mm-hmm.
well first of all I believe I'm an alien Pleiadian. Shout out to Pleiades in outer space. Um
Venetian here.
what's that? You're
I'm a
Venetian?
Venetian. It
I
makes
love
so
the
much sense to me. I found out
star
yesterday. I was like,
seeds.
okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
That you get why you're
For you,
yeah.
Palladium makes sense for you. Oh, yeah.
For me, you see that? Yeah. No, that's actually something that Gail taught me too. Like she was like Palladium, like, you better like
Mm-hmm.
you love consciousness. Anyway, star seeds see star seeds, don't we? But yeah, no, generational trauma is super real too. And
Mm-hmm.
what I've been trying to teach my mom, even though she can't really understand my light language, so I've just kind of given up. But I've been feeling, when you're given these gifts, the amount of like anxiety we experience anxiety from for whatever reason because I know like I'm naturally not we're not meant to be anxious people. It always is deep rooted from somewhere. And knowing my
Mm-hmm.
mom's family's history,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of friction there, a
Yeah.
lot of white people friction.
Yeah.
And I know that when my mom was pregnant with me, my grandfather also had colon cancer at the time. So that probably caused a lot of anxiety that
In the womb.
got down in the womb. And I'm very
That's what happened.
enmeshed,
My mother, too.
so
She was not. Yeah.
yeah. And I tried to teach my mom about the craziness and power of enmeshment and how it can affect us later on. And I think she understands it a bit, but these things, these
They
like
have to be
anxiety
ready.
comes from from a DNA cellular level. And so it's up to, the chosen ones, the ones with the gifts in the family, the black sheep of the family, the ones who like run away like me, to heal everyone, and because I've seen my family also have friction and tension between like different family members, and I'm just like, okay, first of all, I
You
love
see the patterns.
you see the patterns, and I'm like, I love all of you. And it's true, like I see goodness in my mom, I see goodness in everyone and between her brothers who've had like friction between each other, but I see where everyone is coming from, and I love all of you, and why can't you all just get along? And I think that's why I've had to protect myself and to run away. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. And the thing is, too, and I believe with this is that we think when you hear the word runaway and you think that it's bad, it's like, oh, that run away. And it's like, just because I'm running away doesn't mean I don't love.
yeah,
It's because I'm protecting myself. Because again, I'm going to repeat this. I mean, probably on every podcast is that if you do not take care, you're the only person that can like take care of yourself. You only can control yourself. You can't control your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your lover, your dog. You sure can't control any dogs. But I mean, like at the end of the day, right? But if your cup is empty, you can help no one. If
yeah,
you are a drained light worker, starseed human being, you can help no one. So
yeah,
by removing yourself from situations that are not aligned to your growth is the best way to do it. And this is the thing right here where we have been born into the society, and I bet maybe this has been always been the way of that family is family, and you do not go against family. It's
Yeah.
like, even if your brother is like murdering your children, you're supposed to stay there. Now, I believe you can still love this person,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be near them. And I think
Mhm.
that's something really important, especially people who are waking up and they're like, oh, all my old friends, or you woke up and you were like, this guy gave me something, but he's actually hitting me in the face and that's not cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all of this stuff, but then we're like, but I love him, or they're actually not that bad, or this is a, you know what? No, you have to go into your soul, into your heart, soul, gut, whatever it is for you, and be like,
Yeah.
is this not aligned? And it's not,
Yeah.
because it's not that you don't love your mom.
Yeah.
It's that you have done the work that you were supposed to do at the place, and now you have to go. And you
Yeah.
probably will be back.
Oh, I know. I mean, I already returned home, so that's why I told her. I was like, "Hey, this
No,
lease
I
is
mean,
for a
again.
year. Uh-huh. We'll meet
Yeah.
again. I'll be back."
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, and for parents that try to keep their kids like that doesn't work either, because it's
Hmm.
like they're adults.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is a whole topic, but yeah, for you, like thinking like I got to run away, but you're not really running away. You're choosing the environment, and you feel like that you had to come. So this is like my little download from this whole thing. So you left, went to
Hmm.
California, boom, 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 woke up. You got this. You got the man that taught you this, but also taught you that, and you're like, never
Mm.
again. But I also
Never
love that I
again.
slowed the fuck down. Then
Hmm.
you're like, okay, I got this job, and then okay, I don't want to do that, but now I've learned this from this, and then you're like, okay, I can't do California. I want to go home. So you're at home, living with mom for a little while. You're like, all right, but I have these dreams. I have these things. I have to do the. I want these things to do it. Obviously, there's a block here. It's not me. I have to get out of this environment. I have to get some fresh air, a fresh water source, as you could say, water, everything.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
that's you going into this new environment so that whatever you're trying to plant will grow. And it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with your mother being a bad person, a bad mom, or a bad human being, or a bad star, whatever she is, doesn't matter.
No, yeah.
It has nothing to do with that, because at the end of the day, you are what's important. And we don't need to be assholes about it,
No.
but we also have to fill our own cup.
Totally.
And that's what you're doing.
Totally.
That's what you're doing.
And it's just it's crazy because for me, I've also experienced like so many psychic attacks, and I've had people like powerful people tell me like, Emily, you take on a lot. You got to protect yourself. And I'm like, you think I don't know that?
Yeah. And and you're like, I'm learning.
I'm learning. Yes, and it's about deciphering. It's learning how to decipher, I think, between what emotions belong to you and what doesn't, and especially like,
Especially if you don't have, like, in human design, if you don't have a defined solar plexus, it's even worse. It's coming in,
and
and
when
you're
you're
open your
such a
heart.
strong channel too, because that's my issue. I'm such a strong channel, and even though like I'm a Reiki master,
It
I've
will
had like,
attract.
oh my God, yeah, it's just like, whew, it's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
But I'm always just like shielding myself, like, oh my God, and it's constant. It's
Yeah.
constant, but
Well, that's because that's the thing of like the brightest light, the moths are like, so when you shine super bright, they come for me too.
yeah,
They come for me too all the
yeah,
time, because
yeah,
I am so bright. I am
yeah,
this high frequency, and so, and then granted, the other side, the darkness, or whatever you want to call it, too, is like their mission is against us. And whether we have love, they don't have that. And that's
mhm,
not their fault. That's just how it happened. And so when it's another thing too, when we fight them with their fear or their anger or whatever, that's why it doesn't work. That's why
right,
you have to literally do it from love,
right.
because love is the light that the shadows.
And love always wins. Love always wins.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So like we can get, and I think that's the thing about a lot of people too, is like, this is hard, but I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop loving. I'm not gonna stop doing this, even though it seems to be the exact opposite of what is happening.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm just gonna show up. I'm gonna run away from what no longer serves me, or what does is not for my highest good. And it doesn't mean that you are bad, or
Yes.
the situation. It doesn't mean that right and wrong. It's not that. It's just
Preach,
not
sister.
for you.
Exactly.
but everyone else has their opinion about it. And being in how the world is right now with all the separation,
Yes.
it's hard for people who do not actively try to do the work or maintain the work towards having the higher vibration, which, and we were not high vibe all the time or in the human body, but like having that kind of like thing, for them they get lost so much faster in the addictions, or in the blame game, or in the siphoning game. Like some of these people are literally energy vampires and they have no idea what that means. They have no idea what they're doing. Does
Yeah.
not mean they're not doing it. It does not mean we have to deal with it, but
Yeah.
we also don't have to talk shit. Because
Exactly.
that just brings down the love. So like with
Yeah.
you, you're like, ma, I gotta go.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
And she's like, well, and you're like, I gotta go.
And it's crazy because I see so much of myself in her because she loves so hard. But I'm just
Yeah.
like, I feel like I'm slightly more at a higher frequency than her. You know, it's
Yeah.
like she doesn't even know her gifts. But I tried to explain to her, but I can't. If I do that, then I'll
If
be like, oh,
someone's
are
not
you
ready,
okay? Yeah,
yeah, someone's, if they're not ready. And that's why when, this is the thing too. And I did this and I read this like somewhere after I like really woke up, and I read
yeah,
this somewhere and it was like, you wake up, you get really excited. Let's say you start your talk. I'll have books as a perfect example. You wake up and you like read this book and you're like, hell yeah, this is the best thing. This has changed my life. And then you start giving it to all of your friends and family and no one does anything. And then you're like, what the heck? Or one of them does and you're like, yay, but like no one else. And it's because they have to find it on their own. And that's why being an example is like the best way to do it, and
when I
not
woke
trying to
up, I
force
was
someone else.
yeah, when I woke up, I was like nerding out. I'm like, oh, starseeds, Palladians, and like Schumann resonance. Like, what is this? And that all happened a lot in in 2020 over the pandemic too. I was fascinated by that because I felt like sometimes we get hit with like so much light from like the human resonance, right? And it
Oh,
just
we
feels like
do.
they're doing cranial surgery and just like pins and
Yeah.
needles and just like I remember even in 2022 there was a period in July where I felt like I was almost going to pass out because that was a big light summer. I don't know, remember if you
Yeah,
remember 2022.
2022 for me was the most awakened. That's when I met my husband. I was just like, what?
Yes, that was huge. I was like, I'm surprised I survived 2022 because that awakening was just like it floored me so many times.
Yeah, I
It
think a
was
lot
hot
of
and
us,
heavy in
it
that
was just,
inferno.
yeah, and it's just like, we want to share it, but we
Yes.
have to realize that, like, and that's why I love like social media and showing up and not like being like, you should do this.
Yeah.
Of just being like, this is what's working for me, or, and I love the phrase, if this resonates with you. I love it. If
Take
this
what
resonates,
resonates.
takes
Yeah.
what resonates. And you know what? It gives people the ability to ask themselves, does this resonate with me? And then do something about it, instead of being like, you should do this. Because when you tell someone they should do something, they're going to do the opposite.
Mm,
And yeah,
exactly. What my mom is saying, like you're running away. It's like, or she's like, you're yourself on a self-destructive path, and I'm like, okay, well, you making me, you give me this tone. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that because I don't feel safe with you. It's so true. It's so true.
yeah. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, and in your heart, that's not what you're doing. You know that
Yeah.
that's, but why are you? Because let's say they have this picture of like a guy is like when you're talking to your mother and it's like a brick wall and he's like
Yeah.
talking to the brick wall.
Yeah.
And eventually you just learn to just be like, okay, like I'm not going to fight you because you believe that and your beliefs are your own. So I got cut off. That's what happens when live happens. So I really hope everyone enjoyed that conversation and just had some nuggets in there of wisdom and just on the journey of, being an awakened soul and realizing there's something else. So I hope everyone has a beautiful day, and I'm sending love, light, and authenticity.